Atletico Madrid.
Athletic Bilbao.
Bilbao. Oh.
But they're fourth. Fucking destroyed them. La Liga sucks. There's two good teams. But Man U beat Betis. They beat Sociedad. That's like 4th, 6th, 9th. La Liga sucks. German League has Bayern. What have they won? 12 in a row?
I mean, it's hard to tell, right? About like how the leagues stack. Because the teams don't play each other outside the Champions League. That's the only way we know.
No, but there's like Champions League, Europa League, Confederations Cup. So you're basically competing like you're 1 through 4 against each other, you're 5 through 8 against each other, and then you're, or 5 through 7, and then you're 8 and 9 against each other. And what we find is that the 1 and 2 of all these leagues
Are comparable.
Yeah, comparable across the board. And like,
But the depth of the leagues and the
yeah, once you go out to like team number 7, it gets pretty sparse in everything but the Premier League. Like the Europa League final was Tottenham against Man U. That's 17th and 16th. Literally the two worst that are remaining in the Premier League.
Okay, boys. That was a good pre-live talk while I got this situated. So we're good. Magically.
How's the sound? Should we check?
Sounds good to me.
Bryce was saying something about the levels being off in his message to us.
They all look equal. Hey, bud.
Should we check what he said? Are we live?
I ate 2 hot dogs before the pod.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh.
That was a mistake. Double hot dog.
Oh my God. Poor heartburn.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling right now.
Oh.
I'm feeling heartburn.
Hi, Adrian.
I feel like hot dogs
Hi.
are underrated. Super underrated.
Superfood?
No, I don't think they're superfood. I think they're
super
like,
underrated superfood?
yeah, I think they're just like awesome.
It's literally like a pile of garbage.
Could you guys
From a
do a month
pig.
on a Costco food diet?
No, I got
like
beef.
just
dogs.
the beef dog and the it was like a 99-cent beef dog.
Okay, here's what I was wondering though. If like organ meat is good for you, isn't that what a hot dog's made out of?
It's made out of the,
Dr. Carnivore?
the knees and the neck.
Yeah, it's all good shit.
No Liver King though.
Might be.
Could be.
Should I check the feedback here?
Is there feedback?
Sound check, make sure the gain signal was a tad hot. Picking up a lot of line noise. Okay, I'm not sure.
You may turn off this fan, maybe?
I think it's the fan.
Probably.
Oh, it does have like a zzz. Yeah.
A little loud.
So.
Okay, everyone nice and comfy?
Yeah. Are you ready?
Everyone got their gum and their
Lip smacking.
lip smacking and the gum and
Just do it a few times to let people know that you're here.
I don't think it's a problem.
Let them know.
I don't think it's a problem. I think it's, maybe I'll make it a trademark.
With your old fashioned?
Yeah.
Mint flavored?
Oh, yeah. Didn't that come up one time?
Yeah, you were drinking tequila.
Mhm.
This gum I see in your mouth is like a turquoise blue color. It's like mint.
Mm-hmm.
That must be pleasant
Orbit.
with your with your old fashioned.
Orbit.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a old-fashioned faux pas.
For somebody
With
who
gum.
like really takes their stuff pretty seriously at times.
This is an MVP, brother.
Yeah.
We already talked about this.
Minimally
not
viable
I'm not drinking a burgundy right now.
Yeah.
That would be a faux pas.
You look like you're drinking old-fashioned too. What are you drinking?
Yeah, I'm back. Armand, maybe an MVP.
Oh.
It's an MVP old fashioned.
I have a Zin in, and that's also mint flavored. So when I'm like taking this like high road, I'm taking this like stance against you.
I would never touch his.
I'm splurging with a Diet Coke and a citrus.
Getting crazy, boys.
Yeah. Did you have your Zbiotics? I see we got a
did.
delivery in.
You got a fresh pack.
Ooh,
Got a fresh pack delivered to the office.
okay.
Lannister.
Office
Always pays his
Zbiotics. All right, well, let's get.
I think I owe you one.
Okay.
Maybe two.
Interest.
I
you
got
know,
you.
Interest. So yeah, guys, go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Did you guys do the ad read last week?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Good.
I can't remember.
Okay, I'm gonna check.
Steven did it.
Okay, Steven.
Yeah, that's true. We did.
Okay, good. Yeah, we got the pre-alcohol for the office. That'll last us a few weeks. Some of these little happy hours. But yeah, the pre-alcohol is the genetically engineered probiotic. Takes care of that nasty toxin. Eric.
Acetaldehyde.
Sure is.
I was ready.
Yep. That makes you feel like crap in the morning when you drink. So you drink the pre-alcohol a few hours before you start imbibing, and it'll save the day. Trust us. We've been using it for years. We used it before they were a sponsor of the pod. We've recommended to tons of friends, family. We've given away as gifts. Obviously, lots of listeners on the podcast have used it and done the same. I think our code is spread wide and far. I think so. David Hoffman said he spread it wide and far as well in New York. So
Nice.
So hopefully,
Yeah, I
there's
had
some...
a terrible Sunday morning. Felt terrible after some drinking. What was that?
Yeah,
Saturday,
we were all drinking at the beach.
And immediately was like, I had like Zbiotics inventory anxiety.
You
So I
immediately
was
ordered.
out, and I was like, okay, order. So I had it sent to the office as well in case it didn't get to me in time, which it did. It was perfect timing. It arrived today. I just opened it, consumed mine. So
How'd you
I'm feeling good now.
outside of the drinking? How'd you like the beach? I know.
Hold on,
you're-
can I close out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, close out. So yeah, don't have Zbiotics anxiety inventory.
Yes.
Yeah, get some now. Use the code Alfalfa. Check out. It saves you 15% off. Supports the pod. And yeah, if it doesn't work for you, they'll give you your money back. Thank you, Zbiotics.
Thanks, Zbiotics.
Eric,
I'll never
beach,
request
go.
my money back. I want to give more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He never let us in that investment round, by the way.
Yeah.
Still waiting.
I wanted to follow up on the beach. How'd you enjoy that experience?
It was a fun
It was
day.
a friend's birthday.
Yeah.
Were you in the sand?
I got in the sand. Oh, yeah, you weren't there. It was awesome. I was in the bay, in the San Diego Bay.
You prefer the
Um,
bay to the beach?
I'm not a sand guy, generally.
That's why I'm asking. I know.
Oh,
you hate
okay,
the sand.
okay. But it was great. Yeah, the bay's like calmer. It's easier. It's just, oh, you lucky son of a bitch. It's easier.
I have you on film tucking your acorns.
Acorns. It was great. You know, yeah, it was awesome. It's different. It's different than being at the beach. It was a cool little
I
spot.
think the bay's better.
Yeah, I liked it.
How
It was
many
different.
times a year, question for both of you, how many times a year do you visit the beach?
Oh, that's an embarrassing question.
I'm like low for San Diegan, but it like the number that I go would make you surprised because it's how high it is.
Oh, what are we talking? Are you over
Um,
10
Yeah.
already this
Well,
year?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
I go. I mean, I live close. It's like kind of like our closest thing.
wait, we never get invited to come with you to the beach.
Well, this guy doesn't even like sand.
When we went on Saturday, it was the first time I've actually been on the sand. Like we live close, a block away from the water, so we walk along the water all the time.
Coastline.
Yeah, it's coastline, but it's not sand.
You guys aren't really like beach folk.
Yes, he is. She loves the
Yeah.
beach. She would love if we went every day to the beach.
But I think
Yeah.
like I think the
Neither of
bay
us
is
are.
like a good compromise because the bay has sort of like grassy area.
Yeah, so we go a lot, but we don't go and like lay out on the beach. We go to all the spots that have a combination of grass and ocean and beach. So there's like a spot, I think it's in Del Mar or Solana called Fletcher Cove.
It's
You
right by
probably
like
know it.
La Berge Hotel is right there.
Yeah, and like it's just like this beautiful patch of grass, but then you can walk down that driveway and go straight into the beach as well. So you get the best of both worlds. So when Rumi wants to go see the ocean, go to the beach, I walk her down, but typically like hang out on the grass area.
Eric,
Grassy
do you lay
knoll
out? Like you
is
put a
mine.
towel down and lay on the beach?
Yeah, I'm a water goer, so I like to submerge the body, catch
Get
a few
in the
waves.
water?
Yeah,
I would never do that.
Wait, I didn't know this about you.
yeah.
Okay. That's a good activity.
I always say for a San Diegan, my numbers are very low. And then for people that love the beach, they would just be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, we go on vacations to places like that just to get to the beach. Like, I think about that often. I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to make myself do something I don't love to do.
It's funny. We went to Santa Barbara for the weekend, spent 3 nights there, and every morning we walked the beach, and that was 3 times more than I had been to the beach in San Diego.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
Yeah. I probably go 25 times a year,
Oh, that's good.
twice a month.
Yeah,
It's good.
that's juicy.
Yeah.
I think it's like a standard number. I think that you're like on par.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we would never move to like PB or live in a beach area. That's just not our style. not really our thing. I much prefer the forest, freshwater, rivers, creeks, lakes over the ocean. That's just me.
But you're like a city boy more than like even a mountains and beach guy.
I think when I was younger, yeah, I've become more of a like, well, I'm just a suburban guy now. So,
Oh, right.
but no, I mean, if you said like, do you want a house in the city or in this like beautiful wooded area on a lake, I would 100% take the latter. Yeah, for sure.
Once you're like retired.
No, give it to me now.
No, you wouldn't.
I'm ready.
I mean, you're lying.
Yeah, because I already commute. I'm used to all that. Like, if I need to go somewhere, I'll hop in the car.
You're
love
talking. You're projecting like an interest of yours, but
No.
it's not real.
Reality. It's complete reality now.
All right, guys, you want to get into it a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about this Saylor of ETH topic. Armand, do you mind getting up?
Up.
Just getting it ready there. I think it's
It's
like
up.
strategy.com. It's MicroStrategy's little dashboard because we might chat about it during.
I like Strategy's dashboard. I've been on there.
Yeah. I didn't. Oh yeah, I put it in there. There you go. Okay, so there's a publicly traded company called Shark Link Gaming. The ticker is SBET, and they are straight up implementing a MicroStrategy playbook for Bitcoin. So if you remember, I think it was like 2019, 2020, when MicroStrategy first made a purchase of Bitcoin and made it their like primary treasury asset instead of cash or treasuries. And Bitcoin was like a $200-300 billion market cap. Now it's a little over 2 trillion. So it's 10x then. Not to say that MicroStrategy's
So hold on.
plan
so
is like
MicroStrategy or Strategy did that only starting in 2020. So that's like 10 years after Bitcoin was launched.
I think it was like Bitcoin was around 10K or 20K
Damn.
when he first started. But obviously he's
Didn't know
had
that.
some significant purchases at
Yeah.
a much higher price point.
Well,
Like his
yeah,
weighted average is
He's
up
just
there.
sending still like all the time.
Yeah, so he initially converted his company cash, and then he started the whole issuing
Issuing
notes,
debt, issuing debt to buy.
a debt to buy. So it looks
So
like
this company that you're describing is called Shark something.
it's Sharp Link
Sharp.
Gaming. They were an affiliate marketing like gaming company, like casino gaming. So
Did you ever cross paths with these fine folks?
no, I don't know who these are. I've never been in the gaming industry, like casinos. That's usually people outside the U.S. because for a long time you can't have like
thought you were gonna,
live betting.
So his
I've never
average.
been in the gaming because I'm not a nerd.
But I looked at the balance sheet for these guys. I mean, this thing was like 12 months away from straight up running out of cash. So I think the last
Oh, so thank God they bought ETH.
they had like $3.5 million of cash left, I think, and I think they were losing, or no, sorry, they were doing like $3.5 million in revenue. They were losing money, and they only have $2.5 million of cash.
So this is
in the bank.
microcap stock.
Oh, for sure, it's $25 million market cap,
yeah,
which is generous
right.
considering how much cash it's losing every year.
Yeah.
So basically, what they did is they did a pipe, like a private placement investment. I think they issued like basically it equated to a 95% dilution. So they issued 20 times the existing share count to this investor pool, which includes a bunch of crypto heavy hitters, including Consensus and a bunch of like crypto VCs. And I think they're putting in 425 million.
So like Consensus is choosing to invest in the pipe of this publicly traded company.
They're using it as like a shell corporation. Basically, there's nothing in there that's worth anything. So they're just going to say, hey, we have a publicly traded vehicle and we're going to pump close to $500 million in there and buy ETH and then hope it goes up.
It's so weird to me just to like think about because like I understand what's happening and it's so weird to me that this works, but it fucking does every time. Why does this work when investors can just buy ETH? You can even buy it like the ETF. Like, why do you need to buy?
Schwab's going to allow it proper. You can buy ETH
Yeah.
proper, not without the ETF.
Right. Like, why do you need to buy a company that holds ETH? The company loses money in its operations, but they buy ETH. So you're buying it for the ETH. Why don't you just buy ETH? And I said the same thing about MicroStrategy strategy, but that got thrown in my face because MicroStrategy's up way more than the Bitcoin. So like, why does this shit
Can you go to the
work?
main dashboard, Armand, and we can put up on the screen? And I think the main number
I was
that
just
we
looking
want.
at it.
Okay, so It's hard to see, but it's near the bottom right. It's called MNAV, which I believe is like the market cap
It's
divided by.
Yeah, the premium you pay on their Bitcoin holdings.
Yeah. So essentially, what it's saying is that the market cap is at an 80% premium to the value of the Bitcoin that's on their balance sheet. Which is that's I want to point this out because that's the whole reason.
No, you're right. This is the best number to consider. Okay, so let's go back to this thing. Armand pointed out it's that 1.79. There it is. So that MNAV, Nick's right. That's the premium you're paying. So basically, for every one Bitcoin they hold, you're paying the price of 1.79.
You're paying like $200,000 Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, so you're buying way higher price of Bitcoin to own MicroStrategy. And I've always said this is stupid, but I've been stupid because it's paid off for everybody who's bought MicroStrategy.
Okay, so go back there, and if you look at the
1 year
bottom
return.
left, now we're looking at implied volatility and historic volatility. So, that's where your money comes in.
Yes.
Is that this thing has moved,
Yes.
50% in the last 30 days, and implied volatility is 70% for like the future, I assume.
Well, this is also, oh man.
So what's different about this Ethereum approach for?
I think they're hoping it plays out exactly
I know
like this has.
that's what they're hoping. I guess what I'm asking you guys is like, what's different this time that causes this to not work out in a similar fashion?
I think
the underlying asset is different.
Well,
I think it comes with a whole different set of beliefs, as well. So that's one core component in my mind. The asset functions differently.
Yeah.
Totally.
It accrues value differently.
The supply
there's
is
just
completely different.
So many differences, right? But I mean, also, are there differences about the company, the mechanism, the way it's all kind of set up?
Well, the main difference right now is they're not issuing debt as of yet. They're not saying, hey, we're issuing $1 billion worth of bonds to buy ETH. They're just investing their own money. It's important to note the CEO and CFO put in their own money too in this, probably because they didn't want to get massively diluted, but maybe they believe in it as well. Just a few things to point out about this too. So the investors in this are up massively already. So
what's the ticker of this stupid thing?
SBET. So
SBET?
so 5
Okay,
days ago, I think it was trading at like $3, and it's currently around 30. And they bought in at a $6.15 price. So they're up 5x. I'm sure they're well locked up in terms of like they can't sell their shares immediately, but they're up 5x on paper for their investment in this company.
I just quickly want to look to see if there's an options chain. No, there's not.
I doubt it.
No, it's too small.
It's way too small. So the market cap is probably, if it went up like, I don't know, it's probably like a couple $100 million is the market cap. It's still tiny.
Yeah. Oh man, this thing's so stupid. To Armand's question, like what are the differences? I think what's different about MicroStrategy and this is that the MicroStrategy has this like edification in the market that is, ossified by a derivatives market representation that SBET doesn't have yet.
So you may not see the same volatility, you're saying?
Well, I think you pointed out something that matters is that implied volatility being higher than historical volatility means that people like me can get involved in the name even though you don't actually want to play it, and then that provides opportunities like what Saylor's been doing in the convertibles ARB market and stuff. So I think the differences are more stark than just like the differences between the underlying asset.
So that I think that's the main one now for sure. But to your point, like what's a little different, I think the fact that they're involved in gaming is a little more like regulatory scrutiny. That like all of a sudden this like casino related company is buying ETH. I mean, it's kind of poetic, but gaming regulators might balk at like this a little bit. I don't know. They say they're an affiliate business, so they're not actually doing the casino gaming. They're just probably promoting it.
How big of a company is it?
Tiny, like a couple $100 million, but they do like $3 million in revenue. I mean,
it was 25 million.
our company's like dwarf them. It's basically a failing company, and they're probably going to go out of business. I'm surprised they didn't get delisted.
No, but it's like it's always been sort of like top of mind for me for any failing company. Like, why don't you just like do the Saylor playbook or like the ETH version of the Saylor playbook for any failing company? Just like like sort of ride in the wake of the degens and like let your market cap soar, and then profit.
The product is the market cap.
Yeah, I mean, well, your wealth is the market cap. So
Did you guys see that meme coin?
No.
no,
There's a meme coin that him has been pushing like crazy.
him is that
Yeah.
person or is
Him at him.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know if that's actually the handle, but he goes by him on Twitter. It's just called Startup,
That's the name of the.
and the tagline is like, "The product is the market cap. The market cap is the product."
Well, speaking of meme coins, GameStop looks like they purchased a shit ton of Bitcoin today or yesterday.
Yeah, GameStop's doing the Saylor now.
Right.
Yeah, saw that coming more though.
So you think there's something about just the novelty wearing off that may not benefit these other companies like it benefited MicroStrategy?
Well, you know, as I like think back on it now, I think I made this mistake. And here's this mistake that I see in like academia that I fucking hate, and I became it. So in academia, typically what they do in finance is they'd say something to the degree of like, okay, so you have this like marginal advantage, but that's not a real advantage because the markets are efficient and that advantage will eventually go away. So that's not even a thing. But in the meantime, somebody's going to fucking profit for like a long time. And my thought on this is that like I sort of went academic route on MicroStrategy and I fumbled the bag thinking like, okay, if this like Bitcoin reserve strategy works, then everyone's going to do it. And then that will like sort of erode the benefit to yourself. But like,
So
it hasn't.
I like that post-mortem reflection. At the same time, I do think there is a novelty factor here that's going to be difficult to put your finger on and explain. But when you ride that wave and you pioneer something like this, I think it comes with a lot of positive reinforcement from the market. Being a first mover. Now, I think the
You mean
indicator
like-
will be
You mean cachet to strategy only?
correct, but I
Yeah.
think like let's find out what happens with GameStop, and if it becomes a repeatable model and it becomes like a repeatable thing, like just launching a meme coin, and this is what it is like the treasury just owns a bunch of some other underlying asset, and it works, then I think you can be more certain that this will work for this whatever the hell
Well,
company it is.
I might be like splitting hairs here, but like the next highest ownership of Bitcoin on like corporate balance sheets are all the miners, and the miners are languishing. So like that isn't working for anyone but strategy. I guess like except for the people that are doing exactly the Saylor style, which is like we're using like financial engineering to buy the Bitcoin.
The problem is those have a
Yeah.
real business model and revenue.
yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
Trace Thomas guy.
Yeah.
Like, no revenue, no revenue.
Silicon Valley had it
Yeah.
nailed from the start.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, 425 million. I don't know if that's meaningful to the price. Maybe.
I will say this, like MicroStrategy in my endeavors has been the most profitable ticker in my life, and it's because I sell volatility and the volatility is very high. Like one thing I think you can do at any given time on MSTR is to just sell puts on MicroStrategy at 1.3 MNAV. It's at 1.8 right now. Sell it at 1.3. Warren Buffett does this on Berkshire. He says like, buy my stock anytime the price to book value goes to 1.3. I'm also going to buy it. Like, I think this is how you treat MSTR.
Interesting. I love the logo, by the way,
Strategy now. It's
with the Bitcoin.
yeah.
To the B. Strategy to the B.
Raised,
It's to the B.
raised to the B.
Yeah, because it is exponentially getting more B.
I like it.
So they have like, I think like 70 million shares or 75 million shares. So
I just don't know if ETH can win.
Oh, it'll win.
So this is already trading like it. I think this is right. Like if they have 75 million shares, it's trading at $30. They're already at like what, a couple $1 billion in market cap.
So ridiculous.
I don't know how the shares work. Like if they're actually common or what or
No, I know. Like here's like here's why I'm going to be wrong is because I'm looking at this like mid-curved. I'm like, why would you pay $1.3 billion for $3 million in revenue that loses money on every dollar they generate in sales? And it's like, oh, you silly idiot.
Well-
you're thinking too much.
But
Just-
like if the premium is 80%, it's already trading like a 500% MNAV or 5 MNAV.
yeah.
So that's a little weird. But anyway, we'll see how it plays out. I thought it was interesting. We were talking about why won't someone do this. So someone finally did it. It's got some Ethereum cred with Joseph Lubin. He's going to be
I
on
think
the
it would
board.
it would be better if like Lubin. I thought Lubin was doing it himself with consensus. That would carry way more weight.
No, but this is him doing it because it's way
so
easier
is
to.
Lubin the main character?
Yes,
Yeah.
So another thing we didn't discuss is who's the main character.
probably him.
Like Michael Saylor is a huge part of the reason for Strategy's success.
yeah.
Huge.
He is unflappable in press. I don't know.
I've
I've
never seen
Joe.
someone perform like that and
Yeah.
present like that
I think
in
like
that way, in that manner, as a perpetual bull.
what I'd be interested in is seeing him. If you said he started back in 2020, I'd be interested in hearing his interviews from that era. Because right now he can rest on success and he can be like, well, the results speak for themselves. But like before the results could speak for themselves, like how did he speak?
Did you ever watch the? It's like a 8-minute interview of him. I think in like 2000, him talking about the future of Apple and iPhones.
Yeah, it was epic. He was like he was right about all of it.
He spoke for like 5 minutes and got nothing wrong, and which is
Yeah.
really hard to fucking do about 25 years in
Wow.
the future.
I mean, he's a smart guy.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
He's-
to your point. That's one thing.
He's off the charts.
Yeah, but I don't think he was talking about
He's very smart.
like I wonder how he was talking about the Bitcoin reserve
Yeah,
strategy.
I'd like to see that
back
too.
when like Bitcoin wasn't winning.
I bet you he wasn't as, but
You know what we call those people? Poor.
He's getting
I
cocky
don't
now.
know if he got to that level, but I bet you he was placing his bet with high conviction.
He's smart. I
I'd
feel
like
like
to see it
he
too.
knows that more people have to buy this thing and not sell it in the future for his play to work out. So he's just going full like religious,
I'm just saying
propaganda.
you need that level of conviction
Yeah.
and charisma from the thought leader.
Right. That's like what makes it succeed
Otherwise,
as well. Yeah.
like, sorry, like it's just not going to be the same.
Dude,
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's watch it. See what happens.
Watch this space.
Watch it.
SBET.
That's,
SBET with no options.
Yeah,
I'm
need
gonna
need
buy
the
it.
options, but they need to have a significant market cap, right? What triggers the options? Volume and market cap, probably.
I don't know. I always just look to see if they're there.
We haven't talked about like macro at all. My favorite topic in the world.
Yeah, you
in a
love it.
while. But like,
yeah.
what is happening? Like, just really quick. Can I just get like a pulse check? Like, where are we in?
Well,
in-
it changed as of.
It's like the tariff thing.
it changed as
and
of
then
45 minutes ago.
It,
Oh, yeah.
it did. Do you want to just
So Nick's
mention
so
that?
happy.
'Cause our episodes go live in the morning now, so this will still be
Okay, so
timely.
it's Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. PST, and 45 minutes ago, it looks like a federal trade court, U.S. federal trade court, basically called most of Trump's tariffs illegal and struck them down.
The first reaction I had to this was, is this stupid organization even real, or does it carry any weight?
You were thinking about is like this is the international trade
Yeah.
court or like the IMF, which the U.S. essentially funds but doesn't have to follow. Like,
and they said, no, don't do.
yeah, bad. Um,
But this is like a real thing.
this is a U.S. court, so
I mean, everyone has come after this guy already. So
yeah, I mean they're gonna appeal. They probably already filed the appeal in the last like 30 minutes.
Yeah. So
It'll go to the federal court of
it's like-
appeals circuit and then probably the Supreme Court, but it could take months.
and in your eyes, this is incredibly. It's not bullish, but it's like good for you.
Yeah, I mean, if there's 30 days in which I think we have some containers that are planned to land, and I'm wondering when they land, there's still some tariffs that are applicable. Like I think anything under fentanyl and anything he did in 2018 is still active, but anything under this economic disaster declaration, I forget the exact acronym, but there's like a 1977 law that says if we're economic pressure, the president has the right to do this. Those are off the table. So it'll be cheaper, hopefully, to land those goods.
Well, that's great for you. Can you learn me something maybe?
Learn you something.
Yeah, learn me something. And I didn't like seed this before the episode, so
This isn't rehearsed.
it's not rehearsed. It might make them
Okay.
look bad, and I'm not even going to explain it very well because I don't understand it either. But my understanding, my loose understanding is on the tariffs, the tariff is applied to the original cost of the first sale. This is something I just read.
Okay, yeah. So, a company like us, we have employees in China. Like we work directly with the factory. So whatever the price they charge us is the price we pay the tariffs on.
The first sale.
But there's a lot of companies that use brokers, right, or sourcing agencies, or a wholesaler that is actually purchasing it from China. So there's like one or two middlemen.
Yeah, I would think that most products have like so many middlemen.
Yeah, so there it's off of the first sale. There is like a workaround where you could file some additional paperwork and say, I bought it for $8, but the two brokers in between me, they actually bought it for $4.
Okay.
And that was the first sale, and that's what I want to pay tariffs.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So this first sale rule wouldn't benefit you, but it's because you're already working so efficiently that you're like going
we
straight from the
kind of
factory.
benefit already because like we're already getting it as we think as low as we can, right?
Yeah.
So that's okay. Armand, what are you concerned about macro-wise? And actually, while you think about that, I just
Question's a little
noticed.
chaotic.
Yeah, I mean,
My question is just like
the market's pumping on this news.
classic, like just getting a sense of time horizon, checkpoints. How's the Trump administration doing alongside like their actual like where they need to be by this day and time? When is the market going to actually get through this? Is it going to get through this? Do we find the soft landing that we were intending for? Will they be successful? It's like 19 questions in one
You want me-
sort of pulse check, Yeah, I'm just looking for a little, where are we at? When do I get $1 million Bitcoin? Will any other coin ever achieve its previous all-time highs? Will, the world...
We just had Nvidia earnings this afternoon as well.
They beat.
Okay, maybe I need to hear about this as well.
I don't know if you've been keeping up with the market as much, but I'll give you my little
confidence score level on where we're at is kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, so right now the kind of like
Recession.
the 3 bullet points are: one, Doge was a fake because the spending bill just like didn't take into account any of their savings.
Which is what you predicted right from the get-go.
Right, because like Congress has to like solidify
Yeah,
this thing.
you said right at the outset, you're like, they can give advice, but they can't actually make any changes.
Right.
So it's fake in what sense? Sorry, I'm way behind
And this-
on everything.
Like they made actual cuts, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean like, let's say the FDA, their budget actually doesn't go down. So
Yeah,
they
weren't
can
obligated to cut budgets.
Yeah, they weren't obligated. They're going to spend less, but when the budget's renewed, they're still going to have the same amount of money to spend. And
that's
let's face
because-
it, it's going to get filled with something.
And that's
Why
because
would Elon Musk
because
dedicate-
Congress controls the budget.
Right.
Why would Elon dedicate 6 months to this?
Well, can we put a pin in that? Because that leads to our next topic after this. It'll blend beautifully.
Yeah, good.
So then the next thing is like, okay, this tax bill has to go through, or else we're going to see massive tax raise. But the problem is that it adds like another like, I don't know, let's call it $3 trillion to the budget. So the whole point of this was to get the 10-year deal down lower so that business loans go
didn't
down, mortgages go down, and we all kind of like get shit under control. Now Doge doesn't do anything. And this new spending/tax reconciliation bill is going to blow it out even more. And so now
10-year's higher.
everyone's worried that like, fuck, the bond yields are going to go up, which might lead to this like, we're on the precipice of like a debt spiral where it's just going to kind of go out of control and you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. I'm exaggerating. I'm just kind of like taking like a week's worth of random things I've seen in the news.
I needed that. The main reason I asked this question was so Nick would do a belt tuck.
Yeah, I could
Did you see that?
I saw
Did
the
you
swelling.
notice? Did
I
you
saw the
see what
swelling.
happened?
I saw the last 10 minutes of your guys' pod, and that was the last 10 minutes I saw.
When you're gone, things get pretty weird.
Yeah, dude, we delivered on the promise of getting weird.
I was laughing my ass off, and I was trying to sit there. I was like, "Am I laughing because I know these guys, or is this actually fucking hilarious?"
I Had a fucking grand old time. That was amazing.
Did you guys? Did you preface the audience last week that Eric had been drinking since 11 a.m.?
I think I said it at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
warned everybody.
I
I
told
was
him
very excited.
I hit my
We
quota
talked about
of a
being in the
2-drink minimum
pocket.
by noon.
Yeah, yeah. No, we were good, and then I caught up.
Yeah, you sure did.
Yeah,
Steven
it was
did.
good. Yeah.
His,
Remember
his story about
Hold on,
shit-
remember
killing
this?
the girl.
Remember this move? He was sitting there like this, and that's what sparked it for you.
Wait, hold on.
You
no.
commented on his pose.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he was sitting like that, and you're like, "Yeah, you're just hiding a boner or something." You made some comment.
Yeah, I
He was
remember it all. I
holding
was
it
sober
in.
while I was watching, so I
Yeah.
remembered all of it. It's funny. I right before I got on the plane, I tuned in. You guys were fixing the technical issues and getting in the flow, and I was like, all right, cool, we're good. I get off the plane, and it's just shit's unraveling.
Yeah.
And Steven's trying to like close the pod, and you guys just wouldn't let
There
him.
were like little moments of it going off the rails throughout the pod, but then we'd come back.
Yeah,
on
we
the
have
rails.
we have a good.
At the end, we just got way.
we have
were
a knack
"Let's
for
just
like
go."
bringing it back on the rails. I think I have this like.
I think that's a perfect, rhythm.
I think I have this like thing inside of me where I turn into like the world's smallest bully.
I
turn
think you
into
have like a
bully.
boring meeting. You're like, well, this is boring. I'm just gonna fucking throw a grenade in here.
I'm like making fun of the way he's sitting. I would never like do that typically.
Well, can we give a shout out to Steven because he needs to feel better. He's got a little strep throat and lost his voice.
Yeah, I
So-
was gonna publicly shame him
No,
in the
don't.
Discord.
You publicly shamed him in the group chat already.
Yeah, peer pressure. Peer pressure.
Well, get better, Steven.
Get better, Steven.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about it more because you said, "What would you say to me, Steven, if I was sick and I couldn't show up to the pod?" And he said, "I don't know, feel better."
That's not true.
I loved that
That's
comment.
not
from him.
true.
I love that
It's
comment.
so not true. You know that's not true. He would never just say feel better.
Armand responded, "You've never said such words." You would give me a nice blend of guilt trip and well, fuck us then
Yeah,
kind of
there'd be
thing.
some sort of like exhausted, well, fuck us. Now we have to, put
Yeah.
a pod on without you, one man down. And then he'd kind of come in and be like, all right, so see you in 30 minutes,
Yeah, so you're coming, right?
So you're coming, right? And I'd be like, dude, I'm seriously in bed. And he'd be like, it doesn't matter. You can do it.
You think that's what he'd say?
I know so. I
He
know
wouldn't
my
say
friend.
he wouldn't say feel better.
No.
Passive aggressiveness
No.
was 9 out of 10 during
No.
the group thread today.
No.
It was great.
It would be.
Didn't feel that passive.
I
felt direct.
There is some buggies going around, though.
Yeah, everyone's
There's
getting sick.
something
man.
going around.
Stay safe.
Yeah.
All right, you feel macro complete?
Yeah.
You want to move on?
Yeah, that's what I needed.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, so okay, can you pull up this Elon one first?
Yeah.
Specifically, let's zoom in on that. So,
World's most honest man.
Wait, hold on. This is it.
yes.
Okay.
So,
Come to
kind of
the
related what you were
perhaps
saying. He's like,
obvious conclusion that accelerating GDP growth is essential.
"Are you going to read the whole thing?"
No.
Okay. He says, "At Doge has and will do great work to postpone the day of bankruptcy of America, but the
What is this word?
profligacy of
What-
government
What the
means
hell
that
is a profligacy?
of government means that only radical improvements in productivity can save our country." So he's
Wait.
basically saying like,
Now, hold on. What
I
the hell is
tried
a
and it didn't fucking work.
Profligacy?
What the hell is a profligacy? Reckless extravagance or wastefulness. Ah, well done, Mr. Musk.
It's
He's done it again.
Yeah. Well done. You have picked the right word. Okay.
He even said like in an interview, I think the other day, that like he was just disappointed when he saw the spending bill because he realized that like all the grinding, all the hard work, just useless.
All my precious recommendations.
My precious, my precious.
Okay, so analysis is hey, better to grow than cut.
It's oh yeah.
And
I think
this was
I
a lost
just
cause.
I think I just got what Nick was alluding to. Like the next topic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or is the
he's-
next topic this?
No, this is the next topic. So he
Okay.
wanted to know like why would he dedicate all
Yeah,
this
this is
time,
it.
and he's just realizing that it probably wasn't worth it because it can't work. And what I want to talk about was if you go back to the main tweet, this guy Antonio quote
But
tweeted
this is a beaten up man speaking.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
This is like a little sad.
from Elon.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the tweet
It's a
I
little
really wanted to
sad.
talk about, the real subject. So he says, "This is like me when trying to make a monthly budget. I have come to the perhaps obvious conclusion that getting rich is essential, as me somehow lowering my monthly burn rate is impossible. So Elon's talking about the government. This guy's saying, hey, my little personal deficit,
Yeah, it's
my budget is...
It's a fractal. It's a fractal of the same exact
Yeah,
phenomenon.
I have the same issue. And I just wanted to check in with you guys, see if you guys feel the same way. Because I've always had this mindset, like...
Yes and no. I mean, like what he's really saying here is that like the wastefulness of government is so deeply entrenched and borderline impossible to break apart that the only thing I can do and we can do is go be more productive and generate more revenues.
Right.
But that's pretty sad.
Yeah, but this guy's talking about
Austerity
it for your
is-
personal budget.
I know he is, but austerity, like I don't think that exists on your personal budget. I think that it exists at the level of interconnectedness of all these organizations, of the government, and the corruption that exists across all these government agencies, right?
Well,
I don't think it exists on
yeah.
my personal budget.
I think also
like, people
like,
can sign up for an app that cuts their bills. You know, it's like not that hard.
But have you ever done that before? Has any of you ever
you
done
ever
like
cut
a
your bill?
like I'm
No,
talking like
I
a
only had
deep?
But the point is,
That's what I'm saying.
no,
You've never
'cause
cut.
the idea. Yes, the underlying idea that he's saying in the tweet is correct. That like you don't want your lifestyle
because
to
you want to
decrease.
live better
you
always.
don't-
Because
on a treadmill.
austerity sucks.
But hold on, like living better is
The
always
answer is never add. Add incrementally, slowly.
okay. Hold on, because I like what you said first. Is that like you can't compare the two because
Can't compare.
the government, first of all, is like riddled with debt, to the point that there is no paying back the debt unless you like
The
have
interest
this,
is one of the top spending items.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like you have this massive windfall from like growth, and like most personal budgets don't have that same
Completely
dynamic.
different balance sheet. Like
Yeah.
it's just dumb to compare, in my opinion. Yeah, and like your personal budget plan, I mean, at the end of the day, is more of this like you shouldn't probably add things at a commensurate level to your increase in income because then you're just going to play the elevator game for the rest of your life. You're going to be on the treadmill.
To be
for the rest of your
fair,
life.
I would be riddled with debt if I had the ability to print my own money and pay off the debt.
If I could print my Monopoly money.
I would certainly do that. So like in that sense, they're not comparable. But I'm different than you guys, I think, in a lot of ways. But in this one particular way, where like I sort of prefer austerity as like a
Yeah, you're very good at that.
like as an ideology. I just like prefer that. And
You have some like personal rules. I feel like maybe you've never explicitly mentioned, but you seem to follow some.
I just
some
have-
rules.
I don't know. It's not. I don't have like hard and fast rules to say never do this, never do that. I think I will say that. Have I ever cut my budget back? Yeah, I cut my budget down to literally zero before.
When?
When I moved to Australia, I worked at a hostel and a bar, and they were right across the street from each other. So at the hostel, I got free lodging. At the bar, I got free food. I worked at both, and my expenses were zero, literally zero. I made money. I mean, like I could still spend money when I wanted to go beyond those two realms, which
Beyond food and lodging.
which I would do. But like, I think like most people's expenses are basically on their lodging,
Yeah.
primarily.
I have a few acquaintances in the past like month or two where I've seen their houses, their mortgage, roughly know how much they make, and I'm like, how is this okay? Like, and I look at my own situation and I'm like, okay, well I make X amount more, and I'm not even comfortable with like 50% of your mortgage, you know? And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, am I fucking crazy? Like, am I
No.
I
some
being
people have a
Scrooge?
different level of like pressure they want to feel.
And I've been there before.
And it's
I've
terrible.
astutely been there before, and it is like crippling when
Yeah, it's
you're
a slow
like
death.
Would what is crippling?
when you are truly
The
under
cost.
the gun of like financial ruin or like zero.
like
basically.
living paycheck to paycheck.
The fixed cost to income ratio. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like I think it's interesting that living paycheck to paycheck can happen anywhere along the wealth scale. Like there's
Yeah.
like rich people that are like fucking broke.
Oh, there's this
For sure.
there's this John Hamm series on Apple. It's called Neighbors and Friends, and it's basically about this. It's like lives in a very wealthy neighborhood, and everyone's got the massive house and the car and the country club, and he's just like, half of us are fucking broke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we rip down like 40K a month, 50K a month in expenses. We're all highly paid, but we're kind of broke. We're one job away from one firing from just being like negative dollars.
Yeah.
And it's mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
Like I think you mentioned it, the fixed costs is a big one, right? Like housing, a car payment, specifically a second house, a boat, like the big purchase items.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that you got to be careful
so-
of
problem
most.
with
those
lowering-
aren't, yeah. Okay. Hold on. I think like those aren't fixed necessarily. Like you're choosing to add these fixed costs in your life, but they're not like they're not necessities, I guess. Like maybe
to
I'm like,
me, this is about
No, if-
getting older.
because I think there are fixed costs in life. Like you need to like have a place to live. You need like a cell phone
But
bill.
if you sign yourself up for a $15,000 a month mortgage, that's fixed. It's not like
right.
you
Yeah, but
have an
it's
option.
kind of like you're bearing your own grave or whatever. But
right.
I think like okay, so if you ask like what my personal rules are, I think I have a better idea of it now.
Your hand keeps going.
Oh, sorry.
There you
Oh, you got the wall
go.
now?
Oh, that's fine.
I set up the camera specifically.
Well, calm down, Steven. Okay. There you go.
Okay.
I think it's partially about getting older. Like, you can live with very simple means when you're younger. As time goes on, you need to go to black tie events. You can donate money. You need to buy people nice things. You need to take care of your parents. You need to take care of your wife and children. You need to do a lot more. Your
Yeah.
electricity goes up. Your everything goes
Yeah,
up.
your costs definitely increase at like
your
a certain
fixed
time.
costs go up over time,
and,
and
then,
so
and then I think they also come back down at a later date as well. It's kind of
that's
like a
far in the future for me. But yes, they do eventually, and that's why we have.
I don't know. I feel like
retirement.
there are folks that are around our age where it's like living like a simpler way, like where you don't actually care about like. Here's one thing I think about a lot is that like money can be used like you have your necessities taken care of, and the necessities I'm describing are necessities, not like what you're describing, like you get into a second $15,000 a month mortgage or third one or whatever. Like necessities, and like everybody's like idea of what those necessities are different. But I think once you get those taken care of, I think Ramit Sethi talks about this in a similar way where he says, like, understand what it is that makes you happy, and that becomes the things that you spend money
It's
on.
your rich life.
Live your rich life in those aspects, but don't waste money on stuff that you don't enjoy. And I feel like most people waste money on stuff they don't actually like.
Yeah, he basically is like cut ruthlessly on everything other than the things you absolutely love, and then spend lavishly on those one or two.
And I think
things.
like that's like if Nick was asking my rules are that like I understand what I like in life. Like what I had for lunch today? 2 hot dogs.
Yeah, you are very Sethi like.
Why?
You
Because
do kind of live.
I
that.
wanted those 2 hot dogs.
Yeah.
Not because like
You wanted that heartburn.
yeah, I'm feeling the heartburn right now. But I wanted it.
You need a liter of cola.
But it's not
to
like
wash her down with.
I think of it kind of like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett like goes to McDonald's in the morning. He's got all the money in the world to not eat McDonald's.
I hate that clip when he goes to McDonald's and he's like, "Today was a good day in the stock market."
Why? That's what he enjoys.
No. I love that he's buying what he enjoys. I hate that one of the richest people in the world is saying and trying to make us believe that 20 cents made a difference to him.
Okay,
I hate
so-
that video clip.
Okay, so
in every way,
this
it's
is-
bullshit and I hate it.
No.
I love and admire Warren Buffett. I hate that video.
No, I disagree with what you're
He
saying.
doesn't care about 20 cents. It's a fake video. It's fake. It's inauthentic.
Don't worry.
It's-
I think you're getting bogged down with the minutia.
I don't
on
like
that.
it.
You're getting bogged down in the minutia.
No, but he's trying to make an educational point that
No.
it doesn't land for a billionaire.
No.
He was like, today was not a good day, so I'm not going to get the cheese on my burger.
He's not saying that's what made him rich.
No, but I don't know what he's saying.
No, what he's saying is that he just is doing what he drinks Coke. He has McDonald's.
But he acted like money had a meaning to him, and it was not genuine.
Yeah, I think he just does it because that's what he enjoys. He enjoys McDonald's and a cheeseburger and
Have you guys seen
Coke
the clip
and-
I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I know
peanut
exactly what you're
brittle.
talking about.
He's like, I'm not putting cheese on it today because
I mean,
Or
if
I'm
you're
not-
taking it literally to mean like
taking it
he doesn't
very
think he can
literally.
afford 20 cents, of course you're not gonna like that.
what did it mean then?
He also has a private jet.
What
And
did it
he's just
mean?
like, the only difference between you and me is that I can travel better
What
and faster.
I'm even suggesting is that you can be a billionaire and still enjoy simple things in life like McDonald's or a hot dog. Like I don't care.
100%.
I don't like what I'm trying to say is that like I don't get involved in this hedonic adaptation where it's like, oh now I'm rich and I have to eat halibut omelets for breakfast or something. Like I like a fucking hot dog still.
Yeah, I got
Who
you.
cares?
I,
Like,
I think
I know
it's-
what you're saying.
It's nice when your Ramit Sethi rich life is variable cost. So like if it's like, hey, I'm going to travel well, I'm going to take these vacations, I'm going to have a trainer. Those are part of my rich life versus if your rich life is having a massive car payment and a massive house and a boat, all three have like massive payments, that kind of sucks because
Yeah.
then your rich life is all these fixed costs that are really hard to go down on. But if you needed to, you cut down the vacations, you don't travel as much, you kill the trainer, you know, and you're
Dude,
kind of
like-
back to where you were a little easier.
I think that's fair. Like honestly, going on a vacation is just as expensive as buying an ATV.
Can I ask you another aspect on this? I wanted to ask you guys, and what do you think most people, how they would answer this? What do you think is a safer bet? Is it having a salary at a company or being the owner of that company that provides the salary to the employee? Like who has more financial security? Is it the salaried employee or
Okay.
the owner providing
you
the salary?
asked how most people would answer.
Yeah.
Who has more
The-
security?
Yeah.
No, you asked how people
And
would
how
answer
people
or
would answer it.
Yeah. How people would answer that.
Who
the
people?
employee.
What people? What
employee.
slice of the population?
Most people.
Most
just
people would
most
say
people.
the employee. Most people would say employee, and it'd be overwhelming.
Yeah, because
And-
most people
And also, I think they'd be right.
are employees.
But I also think they'd be right.
You think so?
Yes.
Because I'm in the position of like the owner who's providing these salaries and everything's going well and it has been for a while. So there's nothing to reason it wouldn't be safe. But in my mind, I'm like, I see an employee take a salary and like spend money. I'm like, are you insane? Like, you know, this could go away at any moment. Like I am very clear of all the potential risks that could happen.
Yeah, I
And-
think like what you're also subject of is survivorship bias because you're like a very good owner of businesses. Most people aren't. Like I think there's stats that say that 90-something% of businesses fail.
But I've also had failures, and that's why I'm like, hey, your salary, and in particular, my own salary is like not something I can rely on for the next 30 years when I go, buy a house and take on a mortgage. Like,
Yeah, but most people that have a job and work a job for the rest of their lives assume that they'll always have a job. And they might go periods without having a job. They might get laid off. They might quit. They might get fired. But they're eventually going to get another job.
Yeah, and compare that to like starting your own business. It's a fucking nightmare. Like
That is the risk of total bankruptcy. to
Yeah, like, people-
They're just like, I don't want to risk complete collapse. I don't want to risk my family.
starting your
I
own
wanna
business
risk
is like
my
not
money.
for everyone.
The risk is 100 times higher to start your own business.
Yeah.
yeah, and I
The
guess
risk of having a job is not having a job and getting one.
yeah, and I guess the employee could easily just go get another job like the next week. Where
Yeah.
if you have a crumbling business, you can't just like
Yeah,
leave it.
I think
the
when you,
greatest risk for an employee is what is the market going to do? Is my job going to be eradicated by
Yeah.
AI? Is the economy going to go into a recession that makes it way more difficult for me to get a job again? It's macro concerns that are the fear, and then the things that people can control is their capabilities, their skill sets, their ability to get a job, and that feels more controllable. Whereas like going and building a company comes with like way more variables, way less control.
I think it's different if like Nick's
Way
asking
higher
for
risk.
himself. Like if Nick was asking
Oh,
that
yeah,
question for
that's
him,
different.
it'd be like, yeah, well, if it's in your control, I expect you to succeed. But like not everyone is just gonna like make it.
But what
from
is
starting their
interesting
own
is when I
business.
do a budget and be like, okay, how much can I afford on housing? Like I underwrite my salary at like a negative 80% because I'm like, well, if something bad happens, like I'm probably the first salary to go, right? Like if something really bad happens, we might lay off some people, but
Yeah,
mine's
you-
the first to go.
Yeah, you cut first yours. Yeah.
Probably. I
Yeah,
don't
that's-
know.
That's natural. Yeah.
And so it's hard to it's hard to look at it as like a certainty, even though you have a salary. Like Armand, do you kind of underwrite your salary the same way, or do you have it at a place where you're like, okay, I think this is sustainable, or you're like,
That's interesting. In my
6 months
last
from now, it could
company,
change.
which was like a different style company, I was more of an owner, not a founder. It was more of a flow through business and things like that. So I would cut my salary before I cut anyone else's salary. In this situation, I think I would be the last person.
So there's a book.
I would cut myself like last.
There's a book called Profit First. Have you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've interviewed him 3 times.
Oh, you have.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know this very well.
Mike Michalowicz.
He says he would be on that same tone. Like
Yeah.
you don't
yeah,
touch
no.
your salary. You cut everyone
the most
else's.
important. I know it sounds a little weird, but like there's no business without me and my co-founders, and like that's what has to be protected. If we scale to 50 people, but then we need to come back down to 3 to survive, that's what we do. But we take care of ourselves. We wouldn't cut ourselves first. I have to make sure that myself and my co-founders always feel good and motivated and taken care of about what we do, and that they come first. Because if we come last, and that's again the way I used to operate, I didn't take a salary for years in my previous business. And I was just fortunate enough to have made enough money to be able to survive for years. But I don't think that's right for me anymore.
Can I ask if this is like context dependent too? Because like in one context, for instance, that I could just like drop an example, you have this like transitory lull in a business where you need to like keep everybody on board, and in that little transitory moment, you're like, I'm gonna keep all your salaries, I'm gonna take a little cut for now, and we're gonna just resume. And that's okay, even with this guy's teachings.
I think this guy's principles would say you don't cut it at all. Like his thing is like your salary. He's saying like, no, you keep your money first.
Yeah, so he has a waterfall, and at the top of the waterfall is yourself. But then there's profit and setting that aside, and then paying expenses come after profit. And he's got a whole mechanism for this where it just waterfalls and flows through to different buckets of accounts. It's actually really, really well done. And the book is amazing, and it like changed the way I do my personal books and accounting. But yeah, he would cut that.
Your first budget line item is your payment.
Profit,
Like
your payment.
how much you pay yourself.
I'm interested to hear more from this guy, or maybe if
he's also like entertaining.
If you've like interviewed him 3 times, it'd be cool to like on an episode like this have him be a 4th member.
I forget where he's based, but
I like this kind of thing.
He was on Flow.
Like I have a lot of questions that he would obviously be able to answer, but like my immediate reaction is just like I have a lot of questions.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great book. Check out the book, Profit First, Mike Michalowicz. He's got multiple books, but I think my favorite book of his is actually Clockwork.
Oh,
which is
I
more
also
about
have that book.
Time aspect of being an entrepreneur.
How
really
to
good.
like save your time, even though when you have
He
a million
speaks to
things.
the soul of the entrepreneur. There's something about the way he writes that is just like so true and also entertaining. Like he's funny.
You're kind of right. It does get to the soul, because I used to feel guilty about paying myself in the business. I was like, no, like we could use this money to grow, and as long as I have like, cash and investments that I can live on, then I feel guilty taking money out of the business.
Yeah.
And I read it and I kind of like,
He completely flips that idea.
yeah,
Very aggressively. I needed it at the time. And from that day on that I read his book and then I interviewed him, I started paying myself.
yeah.
Like I was just like, okay,
It's like the
this is
immovable
ridiculous.
object in your P&L is what he says.
Yeah.
So Eric, how do you guys have like a steady payment that you guys pay yourselves, or do you basically have your own capital account and whatever you make off your capital account?
In our business, we have very low overhead.
Right.
It's 90 plus net margins.
Yeah.
So we just take the distributions every quarter. And it's not even that.
And that's
complex.
it. No salary. It's just distributions.
Yeah, but it's not that hard.
It's
or
very
complex.
simple math.
Yeah.
How much money's in the bank account? How much should we take out?
Yeah, leave some in there just
Yeah.
in case, but
Yeah.
everything else is
Wow.
Beautiful.
That is easy.
Service
Light.
businesses are
Yeah.
just like that. I think.
Yeah.
They're not like entrepreneurial. It's just like you're just running a service and you get paid for it.
What do you do? How do you treat your like trading profits? Do you just like let that snowball, or do you actually put money in your pocket to go buy something once in a while?
Sometimes I do, but like to if I were to answer your question, like for a podcast, I'd say that I just leave them in there.
Yeah.
But like,
Rarely it sounds like you take them out. I've never heard you say, "Oh, I took profits and like
I mean,
distributed it out."
yeah, part of that is that I'm just like privileged to
Yeah.
not need to do that.
Yeah.
But
Your trading account's your trading account. It's not the
Yeah.
whole thing.
yeah,
I saw this interview of this guy. He's worth about 25 million bucks, and he spends about like 25 grand a month total for his family of I think 4 or 5. And it was really interesting. Like he was very intentional about everything, and he was so scared the whole way to increase his fixed costs. So he still lives in the home from 2017. It's like 300 grand, $300,000 home.
like total net value of the home.
Yeah. He still lives in it because he's just like constantly nervous, but he does spend on the nanny. Like he's got a nanny that he pays like 60 grand a year. And he's like, that has had a bigger impact on our life than having a bigger home.
Yeah.
He talks about, just some of these like healthcare payments that he does. He has normal health and care insurance, but he uses a lot of like preventative concierge medical stuff that has a bigger impact on his life than the bigger home. And I don't know, I got a little inspiration from it in the last day.
Nothing like I'm so excited, by the way, like just to affirm that we finally found a nanny.
Hell
And
yeah.
like that cost, that $50,000
Yeah, it's a
is
lot.
basically the same for me, is like, oh my God, like so happy.
Freedom buys you freedom. or
Yeah,
what?
it's a peace of mind that your children, your babies will be with the right person, that you have a little help, that you'll have a little bit of time, a little bit of freedom, a little bit of ability to show up in the best way possible. Like, and again, like we were talking about this off air in the Alfalfa before hours, which is pretty hot as
The
well.
4 hours are pretty good.
Before hours are pretty good. They get pretty, it gets pretty ham. But there's something to be said about like the ability to show up as the best version of yourself for your family and having a little bit of support. And then there are certain women that just don't want to be home, and that's completely okay. My wife is very happy, successful, and feels valued as a part of her community by going to work and being productive. I'm not going to take that away from her.
She's a boss.
Yeah,
She's a
She's-
boss.
She's awesome.
but I'm not going to take that away from her. I've told her many times, like, stay home if you want.
Right, because the financial analysis of it is pretty simple. You just take
Yeah.
the after tax income and compare it to what
Yeah,
you're
it's
paying on
crazy.
a nanny. But like there's these like qualitative metrics that also should come into play.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's for her well-being,
yeah,
for my well-being. For her, it's like I'm better. Like we're trading. I know so many families would disagree with this, and I completely agree with them for their situation. That like so many families, even if I was looking at it objectively, I would say like most families are better off with their one primary parent raising their children. It's better for the children, and it's better for everybody. But that also comes with a very important piece of nuance, that person has a desire to do so. If they have a desire to do so and they're capable of doing so and they feel fulfilled by doing so, then wonderful, then great. But if that person, it comes at a detriment to them and their well-being and their mental health to do so, then what's the point? You're getting like this version of that mom or dad that doesn't want to be there, and it's not healthy for the children, it's not healthy for them. So then you subsidize that cost, or you basically trade one for one, to Eric's point. Why? For someone else to raise your children 80% of the day. Sounds like a bad trade, but if the other 20% of the time, those two parents, and in particular that one parent that would have been raising that kids, is showing up at 100%, I think that's better. And maybe this is just a symptom of modern times. This option and this discussion never would have existed.
Well, it's like
50, 60, 70 years ago.
it's so context dependent, and you illustrated a lot of the nuance and like
And cultural.
it's,
This is American.
It's cultural too. It's like,
Yeah.
like Mina and I, we have no family around, so like we're
Yeah,
literally
same.
on our own, and that comes with its own trials and tribulations and
Yep.
its own problems. But like Mina choosing to stay at home or go back to work, both of those decisions have trade-offs, good and bad, and like you have to weigh the good and the bad with both sides. It's not like it's like one's good, one's bad. Everything
Exactly.
has
There's no such thing.
yeah.
That's why judging sucks.
Yeah, totally.
Judging is so stupid. Never project your own situation and beliefs on other people. Complete nonsense.
What's the amount of judging
Nonsense.
do you think that is like appropriate? Because I feel like I've reached the pocket of judging.
Mm-hmm.
The pocket is like what Armand describes as like the perfect level of drunk, but I feel like I've reached the perfect level of judging.
Okay.
Where like you need some because you don't want to just like walk up to a gang and be like, "Hey, fellas."
Oh,
You're talking about like a survival judgment. Like
Yeah,
that's
like,
like
I think I have like adequately and accurately judged people, but without going further.
so that's like the base layer of the judgment pyramid is like survival judgment. What's next?
But not even
What's the next
survival,
level?
like,
safety judgment.
It's not even survival. It's not even safety, but it's also like understanding somebody for who they are a little bit better, but also not applying value to that. So I think this is the key. It's like if somebody I've like assigned a judgment that says like, you are a dirty redneck and you're
You're Joe Dirt.
you're Joe Dirt. I could also hold
See,
space for
that-
you being a hilarious person, and like I still want to talk to you and learn more about what you got to say.
You do that amazingly well. I've seen both of you do that in like weird
the
scenarios.
concern with that, yeah, I have a concern with that because like the number of times you could blow off somebody that's fucking amazing because of the way their cover of their
So
book
much.
looks.
Yeah,
My God, have I met amazing people by just being a little bit open in that moment.
And like I think
and
most
just
people
being
these
like,
days,
you have no teeth, but I'm so interested.
but most people these days also have learned to make the cover of their book a little scuffed, like
Yeah.
on purpose.
yeah,
It's because they don't want to portray themselves as like this pristine book. Like everyone
Yeah.
wants to be like a little more interesting. So like it actually,
all the books are interesting though. Even the like pompous asshole can be super interesting once you break him or her down.
totally.
You know, it's just like they don't actually want to be that. There's something else.
Okay, but even if you assign, like, even if you say, okay, this guy's a pompous asshole, I don't assign any value to it. This is my point.
Yeah.
Is that like, it's okay, he's a pompous asshole. Let's talk now.
'Cause
That's
I think,
fine.
I think no one wants to be their costume, regardless of like the version they're giving you. That's just their way of showing up in the world, and it's a signal.
Okay, here's what here's what, yes, I've found it.
Crack open. Are you on the third beer yet? Because like it's working. It's working.
Okay, I found it.
Yes. I wish you'd said that in a British accent.
It's,
In my head, you did.
okay, it's like, it's just like,
Eureka!
Exactly what I was saying. I was thinking that in my head. Eureka.
I've found it, Basil.
here's it. It's like, I think that the answer is you can like discover things about people, but just like don't judge. Like judge is the wrong verb because like you're naturally judging them. But I guess what I'm trying to say over and over again is like don't assign value to it.
Yeah.
But like I think
Okay.
someone can be whatever they want to be, and I'm cool I'm cool learning about that, and I learn about it, and I just leave it be, and we continue on our paths
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. There's a difference between observing and judging.
Yeah, right. Observing is a good verb.
Observing a situation and wondering at a basic level, like, is this safe and should I be around
Yeah,
this
I think
person
you're
is
observing
completely
and not
different.
judging. The way you're describing.
Yeah, observing and letting that exist. I think is another good way of putting
Yeah,
it. It's
you're
like,
detached
Yeah, like-
as well.
this is okay. Like allowing it. Like I'm allowing them to be who they are and being okay with
Well,
that.
that's exactly fundamentally what's happening with people who judge. They, for some reason, can't stay in a mode of observation. They suddenly move into like why it's not okay based on their rules of life to
well,
be
you-
that
well,
way.
You see here.
Well, I learned that you should wear your pants like this based on what? Based on where you were born, based on what your parents taught you, based on the country, based on nothing, nonsense. Like, so you move from observation to judgment very quickly if you project. But if you can just observe and stay interested, I think there's so much to gain from people. So much to
Okay,
gain.
and to get a little more tangible with it, it's like when you're in it with somebody and that person is showing themselves and it's to a degree that you're like kind of uncomfortable with, but you're still accepting what I say. Always I'm like, Whoa.
Yeah.
That's gnarly.
I've heard you. I've heard you do that. I've heard you.
Probably
That's
said that to
my-
one of us once in a while.
That's my way of being like, heard you, acknowledged. We can proceed, but like I don't have much.
In that, I don't
Yeah.
have much experience in
Yeah,
your
I
field.
don't have much, but I'm not stopping you, and
Yeah.
we're just gonna proceed.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Oh man, that was great. We need more of those little side
It was a little side. Yeah, we did a side trail on that.
alfalfa.
My OCD is peaking, but I'm keeping it
No,
inside.
I think that was wonderful.
Yeah, where were we?
Well, we were kind of like wrapping up about the hedonic adaptation, and that talk
yeah.
was like a little therapeutic for me because, like, the standard advice is you should spend 28% of your gross income on housing, and I'm like, that's insane to me. Like,
So in San Diego, it's like considerably higher.
It's like 40.
it's higher, but also like
And what do
I'm
you
lucky enough to
want it
where
be,
where
like
mine
5?
is like way below that, right?
Yeah.
So I have the option to go to 28%, but like that to me
There's
would be
part
like
of you that doesn't want to out of
incredibly irresponsible.
yeah, responsibility.
But at the same time, I got this like little thing in my ear. It's like, get the bigger house.
Okay, hold on.
You know,
So-
like
So I
Well,
want to
can
actually.
tell you, man.
I want to talk to
Forget
Nick
the
about.
forget the logic, the space. I love space.
So I want to talk to Nick about this because he has on multiple podcasts said that he never wants to like own a home. He doesn't. The math doesn't math, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Have you evolved in that sense? Like,
well, like we've talked about in the context of like an investment. So I still don't think of it as like an investment, but I think of it as like a consumption item, at which some point it makes total sense to have it. Like if you have kids, it makes sense like so that you can over time craft it the way you want. Also, like I don't care if the house I have is owned or rented, but you know, when you're renting, it's never like you like it. Like the appliances, you may not like it. Usually people aren't keeping it up to a certain degree if they're renting it out to people. So there's trade-offs there. So yeah, I think I'm always open to it, but not as an investment. It's just like, you know, should I just buy this as a thing I want to consume, you know, for the utility of it?
It's the only depreciating asset that we prop up. The government props it up for us.
Yeah.
Car, everything else depreciates. Your house should depreciate. I mean, it does on paper to a certain degree, but then we inflate the value of that mini economy of real estate. Doesn't make sense. But yeah, I'm with Nick. I have the same exact feeling about it.
And like, I also have this thing in my head that like making money and keeping money are two different skills and mindsets.
Definitely.
And I've seen people who are incredible at making money and the absolute opposite at keeping it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like hold both skills at the same time where in order to make a lot of money, you need to take a lot of risk. You need to be super optimistic. You need to like be aggressive. And then in order to keep it, you kind of need to be opposite. You need to be a little more conservative, a little less risky, and, you know, a little more grounded in terms of what could possibly happen.
Discipline.
this is a good Von Deeper subject. It's not
Can we do a segment on discipline one day soon?
okay. Yeah, I would like
I
that.
love that.
Can you give me
idea
like
of
a
discipline.
month lead time so I can get more disciplined leading up to that?
But what I want to talk about with this is unique to me, right? Like my experience on this is like having a skill set, like a goal, an endeavor. Like I right now am like growing money, and I'm like good at this endeavor. I don't think I'm great at protecting money. There are better people than me at protecting money, and I've learned this a long time ago just through like different styles of investing, like. Whether you're a technical analyst or a fundamental analyst or a value guy or a growth guy or a momentum guy or whatever, it's like what I learned is that the best skill is to know yourself and like play your game. It doesn't make sense for a scorer to try to be a role player to try to be a scorer. The best way is for like you to understand where you are and like play that right.
You do have to limit your downside weakness. Like if you're really good at making money, but you know that your kryptonite is spending it and blowing it every time, you do have to set some sort of guardrail, Otherwise, you're going to be in a rat race for the rest of your life on the hamster wheel.
Like easy mode is staying well below your means, whatever those
Yeah.
means are. Like it's easier mode, I should say. Like there's a
Mm-hmm.
if you're making a lower amount, then everything's
It's
hard.
a good place
Yeah.
to live to control. You can
Yeah.
control things. Your decisions impact.
So you're saying like if you're not good at investing your money, then
Just
like go easy street, don't tinker with it or have someone else do it or automate it or whatever. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Well, I'm speaking specifically for investing.
Yeah.
So for investing, know whether you're a protector or whether you're a grower,
Right.
Yeah.
and do that thing very well.
I like that.
But
Yeah, because part of me is like, hey, you're taking risk everywhere in your active businesses, so your investment should be relatively, safer.
yeah, and I'm assuming if you're like that serial entrepreneur guy who like takes all this risk, you're probably not going to be the guy who's like great at protecting the money. You should probably like look for help for somebody who's going to like help you protect the money.
I think if you find yourself taking the same amount of risk you're taking in your business, in your investments, that's probably not a good.
Yeah.
It's too
Good
much
pair.
also.
Yeah.
Too much stress
Yeah.
in multiple areas. If you're running that kind of business, you shouldn't have to be thinking about your investments at that level.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. Well,
Nicotine?
you want to talk about it?
I don't
Let's
know.
talk
We
about
don't
it.
have to. Steven's not here. He brought it up.
Hmm.
I quit. He started.
Let's talk about it.
That's it.
Well, how do you feel?
It was terrible.
So you quit how many days ago?
Well, I just started to realize, like, I started liking the Zin a little too much.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And I have this, like, relationship with addiction that is thankfully very healthy. The moment I feel something, anything, have control over me, I freak out. Like, I just freak out.
So what does that feel like? The control over you, is that like that pull, like that?
The watcher is not making the decision. Something else is making the decision. Physiological, mental, just like some sort of craving, some sort of desire
So is it
that is not
craving?
like a watcher. It's not the real me.
Let me ask you
with the
this.
desire.
I don't want to just like run by my experience and see how this applies to how you framework it. So, I will like 4 a.m. be taking care of my little daughter, coffee, get going with my day. At like 5 a.m., I have this voice that's like, it'd be nice right now?
Yeah, pop one.
A little Zen. Would be pretty good. And I still have this like ability to be like,
Is he on the good shoulder or the bad shoulder?
well, I have this ability to ask myself, like, do you really want that right now? Like, I feel like I'm still in the driver's seat,
What do you end up doing?
choosing. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like I still have the choice, but the pull is there.
What's step one? It's like admitting.
I think if you have a moment where you don't, it doesn't really mean.
Well,
you're-
are you 50-50 on your choices, or like let's
Well,
say
I'm
like,
not 100-0.
yeah, exactly. Okay, if you're not
Yeah.
100-0, then you're good. I believe in you.
I don't think that's what it is. Well, for me, I can only tell you what it is. For me, it's like the fact that I started to need it more consistently.
Well, need is a verb that I'm trying to understand better, because like, is that desire that I'm describing a need, or is that just like a
Well, I can
a
sit
desire?
there and play semantics with myself about, is it a need or a want or just a
Yeah.
general desire, and did I make the decision or did some other function make the decision? At the end of the day, I'm playing a game with myself. And the game is that I'm ending up doing something consistently that I know I am not as in control as I want to be. We can parse that out a million different ways. Am I doing it more than just like a once a week? Yeah. And so the moment I caught myself doing it more than once a week, and then it became every few days, then it became every day, then it became, I even had a desire in the morning to do it and then I was like, oh, this fucking espresso one's really good with the coffee. And then I ran out, and then I was like, I need this. I was like, whoa. And then
Well, the morning one's the best one.
It is the best one. And then I really
I don't
was
know
like,
what other
okay.
times you're
So I've
wanting
never
it.
been addicted to anything, right? And I caught myself getting it, and I've never experienced it before because never had nicotine. Like, so this is my first. I don't like hookah. We do the cigars every once in a while, but like it's not an addiction really because you're not really doing it consistently. So I've never really like needed something consistently. The moment I caught myself needing this consistently, I got scared. Like a genuine fear of like, am I losing? Am I going to give up some level of control? So for me, I was like, that's it, cold turkey, I'm done. And I think that's just me, and that's what I decided. Ironically, Steven's not here, but like, and you know what? A huge part of it happened. I look around, all my friends are doing it, and like, I can't blame them. That's their choice. But like, it did have an effect on me. I was like, what is so good about this? Zin.
The 10
That
extra IQ
everyone's
points.
doing it. Well, that's exactly what happened. You feel way sharper, way more energy, way more on it. It's addicting in that way. But you know, again, I went through the cycle. I noticed I was wanting it too much. I was like, I got off this. Now, here's the problem: getting off this shit is fucking dreadful.
So it's been 5 days.
Dreadful.
5
Horrible.
days cold for you.
Yeah.
Cold turkey.
And
How
I'm
bad are we
talking about,
talking?
like,
Like,
Bad.
really?
Bad.
Well, you're an embellisher, dude.
I
You're
know.
an embellisher of
I
like
know.
the
I feel
benefits of
more.
it and
I feel more.
the negatives.
Yeah. So it's probably in both ways more in the middle, right? But like, dude, awful. Like, felt down, felt slow, couldn't come up with words, had real brain fog. Did you experience that? Yeah.
Well, like
real
when
brain
I did it, I
fog.
was on a trip. So I was like, well, I'm not bringing it to this country. So like,
Yeah, the best time to get off something like that would just be like, you don't need to do anything. But like, yeah, brain fog, just generally like you're just constantly dopamining, right? It's just like firing dopamine all the time. And
Yeah.
so, you know, all of a sudden you're like kind of lacking it. So I just upped my supplements, honestly. I was like, I just got to up my supplements. I got to throw L-theanine back in, have a little more caffeine, have some extra ashwagandha, which I already take every day, have some extra magnesium, which I already take every day. Maybe even throw in a little 5-HTP just in case. And, you know, in the evenings.
Have you ever considered that maybe all this shit is just something you should avoid?
No.
Because
no.
like
Supplements
maybe
are
you
awesome.
should just go raw dog on
No.
life in general.
No. Never fully raw dog it.
Yeah.
were you more concerned about the medium or the actual like drug in your system, the chemical compound? Like,
Well,
because
the
there's
medium is the best
gum
medium
and
there
patches.
is.
No, I think a patch is probably the safest way to do it.
No, I'm concerned about the chemical itself. Yeah, the dependency, the effects on the brain, and the effects on your blood pressure, and just cardiology,
Yeah.
generally speaking. It probably, yeah. I mean, it clearly has. The thing is with like pouches, they haven't studied them well enough. They don't really know.
True.
But we know that it has an impact on multiple functions that are detrimental, net negative long term. We think.
Yeah.
We think. We haven't
I think
studied it
those
well
are
enough.
pretty sure.
Yeah. We know it has an effect on the heart, and we know it has serious effects on the brain.
What if you
So-
just did life on like Whole Foods and water?
Like, kind of like,
some-
I think what Eric's suggesting is more of like some kind of detox of
See, the thing is,
things that provide
I think what
dopamine
you're
that are-
saying is like, say ashwagandha, right? Everything comes with a trade-off. Nicotine comes with a trade-off.
Sure. Coffee does. Everything.
Caffeine, wonderful example. You just have to determine if, based on your chemistry, like ultimately, and your general disposition for it, and what you are lacking, whether this is going to be net good for you or not. That's what I think the decision comes down to. Like, for example, you can even look at this from a pharmacology perspective. Like, some people need certain pharmaceuticals because they're just deficient
Yeah.
in a process
Yeah.
that exists about how they metabolize food, or just different things that are firing off in your body. So like maybe you need to take Crestor,
Sure.
rosuvastatin,
But
because you have
let's
some
talk about
sort
like
of
the middle of the curve. Like most people are needing nutrients to survive
Mhm.
and sustenance, right? Like calories. So like, what if you just did that? Like is there a trade-off to eating like carrots? Like, and I don't mean 50 pounds of carrots. I mean just like eating like healthy foods, like whole foods, with like a diversity that
Yeah, I
sort
do.
of makes sense?
I do. And so
There's like a trade-off
like
there?
the smart person, like maybe the other end of the IQ curve would say like every single decision is a trade-off,
Yeah.
right? It's like even carrots.
Yeah, sure.
Because
Everything.
one comes with digestive like impact, but then it comes with like nutrients and vitamins that it provides you. Like every single thing you put in your body and everything you decide in life is a set of trade-offs. So I think the question you have to ask yourself is like deficiencies, desires, net good, net bad. I've determined that I think being on that consistently is a net bad long term.
Yeah.
That's what I've arrived at. But for me, caffeine, net good, based on what I know about myself, based on what I've learned about the science,
Even with the trade-offs.
even with the trade-offs.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it comes with plenty of downsides. I'm super addicted to caffeine. I'm super dependent on it.
Blow your butt
I
out.
would have
Blow your blood pressure out.
I would have a terrible withdrawal if I got off caffeine. I have before. It's terrible.
I've done it too.
I don't know. What do you think about?
No, I've done
like,
it too. But I'm actually just wondering if everything in life is a duality. If
I think so.
every single thing in life has a trade-off. There is no good without bad. Like that just like can't exist in our nature. Because that's what I'm wondering.
I
Like,
think
is
an
there anything
apple,
that
an apple has
is there anything that's just good?
and spike your insulin, has sugar.
Water?
Like it's all
Like is water just good? Like in moderation, is water just like inherently good?
Well, the microplastics, dude. So
I don't know.
you're
I'm
fucked
just
there.
wondering if there's anything out there that's actually just good.
It's a good question.
Water's a good one.
Meditation,
Oxygen?
just good.
Oxygen?
Also, just good.
Pretty good. Does everything have to be a
Yeah, I
duality?
think if we really get out there, yeah, it's an interesting question. But with this type of stuff, I just think in general, like especially because was it the FDA? Like basically like decided like okay, we're gonna like legalize the distribution of this, but like no flavors or whatever.
Yeah,
recently,
I mean, they're a body of human beings that are affected by the behavior and opinion of other human beings.
yeah. Like if you said to me like, "Hey Armand, I'm a cigarette smoker, and should I do Zyn instead?" I'd be like, "100%, bro.
Yeah.
100%."
What
So
if you're
there's
what
a
if you're a
trade-off there.
Huberman pod listener and you were like, Armand, I'm optimized in every physical way and manner available to our knowledge. Should I do a Zyn before a important presentation to dial in?
There are other things you can do.
Yeah.
The problem with doing that is that like, are you gonna do it again and often and become attached and ultimately addicted to it? Because the withdrawal from nicotine is terrible. I'm telling you, like it's terrible.
How are you feeling?
Well, I'm great now, as you can tell.
Okay. Well, how was your last 4 days?
Well, it was terrible.
Yeah, but talk about it. Like,
Down, a little depressed, moody, irritable.
Brain fog, you mentioned.
Brain fog, serious brain fog.
dude, so brain fog is bad for business.
Ooh.
Irritability is bad for the home life.
Bad for the home.
Dude,
yeah.
when you have
I was
2 kids,
2 birthdays, family in town, friends in town staying with me. I mean, it was not a good weekend for that.
So you're
It was not
like
a good weekend to do that.
you're running on low sleep just in general, which adds irritability. Plus this, I mean, I can
It
imagine
was terrible, bro.
this is like a pretty high friction point.
I actually think I'm proud of myself. I did really good. I only had 1 meltdown. Seriously, I had 1 meltdown.
No, that's it. That's important because this is like it's a high friction point where
It was terrible.
things can get pretty weird.
Yeah, there was a clip. I think there's a few. There's a clip of Dave Asprey that went viral recently.
Who is he again?
Are we allowed to show clips, or what's the?
Who
I
is
mean,
he?
I don't know.
Do we have audio?
I didn't check it.
Should I just play it?
Well, I tried.
Well, it's got. You don't need to play the audio because it's got. I mean, his voice kind of just seals in the.
Well, it's a really quick clip. Can I play it?
Yeah.
Play it. I'll tell you if it's playing in the screen.
Thank
Well,
you.
you're already on. Yeah.
Okay, let me just play it.
And it's not playing. It's not playing on the stream.
It's not playing. No.
No.
Okay, read the caption. He says tobacco is bad, but nicotine is good for you. Wrong. Irresponsible. Shouldn't have said that.
So that's some authority figure saying that nicotine is actually good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk to Dave about this. I'm sure he got nuanced because this is clips. That's what happens to people. They get clipped. But he did come out with a hot take. He wanted a hot take. We all want a hot take because we all want views. I get it. But that's irresponsible. I don't think you should be saying that, especially like. I just think the amount of people that are going to jump on the nicotine train because someone of authority says that is wrong. In fact, I feel bad about bringing it up at all, ever on this podcast as like a casual thing that I did because I'm like, did I influence somebody?
Do you
to
think
that?
people actually jump on
100%.
Zins because they think, oh, this is actually healthy for me?
No, I think they jump on it because we are all shortcutting our thinking at all times. That's what I do. I look to people to do the thinking and the research for me. And if I trust them, I'm going to do a little research on my own, but I'm influenced by the influencers all the time.
You think that guy's gonna influence anyone? I wish you were watching the fucking YouTube.
Hold on, I got him on the screen. This
got
guy,
red glasses on and a combo of like a robotics / affliction t-shirt.
So to
And
be
I don't know-
fair, to be fair,
hold on, the
it is an
robotic
affliction.
affliction T-shirt.
I mean,
that was good.
yeah,
to be fair, he is the creator of Bulletproof Coffee.
Who is? Oh, that's bulletproof.
yeah.
guy?
No, he's
Yeah.
he's legit. Like he's.
Well, I thought
He was
Bulletproof
the first biohacker.
Yeah, I thought
He created
Bulletproof
he
was kinda
created the
fun, too.
biohacking movement in many ways. He popularized it in many ways. But then he got, usurped by people like Ben Greenfield and Andrew Huberman and all these other guys. So he's kind of doing his thing still. He's back and he's having these hot takes and all that. But the point is it's a go right now if you want yourself to all the studies that are out there, and feel free to use deep research to do it, and just say, like, is nicotine net good or net bad in the form of nicotine pouches or in pure nicotine form, and maybe ask like GPT, like ask like O4 mini high, and then use deep research and see what you get. The answer is net bad.
It's
Yeah.
it's a
The
fucking,
answer is net
It's a
bad.
poison, and it's not. We don't need. It doesn't even need more than that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty obvious.
You guys talked about robotics. We got like 20 minutes left last week. Can
my-
I jump in a little bit?
Yeah, dude.
Please.
This is my favorite segment that we didn't really do justice to because you weren't here.
Well, I think you guys did a good job of it. But I didn't catch all of it. So I want to question: did you guys talk about like the cost of a breakdown of a robot?
No, well, we didn't even like talk about what type of robots we would even expect to see in the world. I don't know if that's where you're going
Well,
towards.
no, because I thought like a key piece of Citrini's like thesis is he looked at robots that exist now. So he looked at one of those Chinese dog robots that sell for like 15K, and they created the bill of materials, which is like every single thing that's in there and what is the cost. And I'll ask you because you probably haven't read it, but like what do you guys would expect would be the biggest cost of a robot? Like of all the pieces, what is the most expensive?
Good one. Okay, so within this robot, you have like the chassis,
Yeah, like the metal framing.
the
Let's
metal
just call it.
framing
Yeah,
on the outside. You have copper wiring. You have
you got a chip.
You have like a circuit board,
Yeah,
a
like-
chip inside, a silicon chip with like some functionality on that chip, which has like a bunch of transistors and stuff, but like way less than what would be on your iPhone.
You got power, accessories, the perception, right? Like
Okay.
that seeing part.
Battery that I imagine is rechargeable, so lithium ion. Okay, yeah, I think I have like a rudimentary understanding of what goes into this, and I like based on what an iPhone is, that like silicon diode has all of the important stuff on it.
Right.
So like that's where the brain is.
Right, the brain. And that's the most common thing. But like in his bill of materials breakdown, the brain, which is he calls it compute and control, it's an NVIDIA chip, some wireless comms, that kind of thing. It's less than 10% of the actual cost. Another thing, like the chassis, the mechanics part, 15% of the cost. 2/3 of the cost of a robot is what he puts under actuation, which is like the gears and the movement. So think about the joints of it actually moving. That's 2/3 of the cost. And then he looks at a humanoid robot. He's like, okay, 20 joints in a humanoid robot. that's where the money is. And so his
That's
play
where the money is. The
That-
joints.
is like he thinks that's where it is, like the actuator. So you guys talked about that some of the plays would be some boring ones, right? Like companies we've never heard of.
Okay, so
and that's why.
Yeah, so this is what I think discussed with Steven before, was that like I think the consumer facing names are the names that are going to fly the most.
I agree with you. Like those are ones that get bid up the most in the fury. Because I heard that part, your argument
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So it's like if this like robotics bubble does rear its head, the money will be made in like the supply chain, but the market cap will be realized in the consumer facing names.
Yeah, so he mentions a few names. RBC Bearings, I'd never heard of it. I think they are in some kind of automotive industry, but they are if you had to choose an American producer of these things that could easily, shift their supply chain to supplying robotics, that is like one of his top picks. There's a company called Timken and another one called Regal Rexnord Corp. Other ones I haven't, and they're all around these like bearings and actuators and mini motors that move it. And I felt like that was just the piece that was missing that I wanted to like dive in on, because like that's where he's saying it's like picks and shovels
Hold
time.
on, what the fuck are actuators?
The things that like move the hand and the elbow and the knee. Like when the brain tells it the knee to move and to walk,
So this is the majority of the cost.
it's
Steven was saying that
2/3.
too.
2/3.
Yeah. It's crazy.
The other part of his play, which didn't get mentioned, which this one I'd be curious what you guys think. So he's saying, don't invest in the final vision where robots are doing everything. He said there's a bridge. And the bridge, he thinks, is that there will be robots, but for a 5-year period, maybe a 3-year period, they will actually be controlled by humans in India, in the Philippines. So there will be a hookup and there will be a robot in your house, and it's really fucking hard to do the dishes and the laundry because there's all these different variables. But if a human can strap on some goggles and control the robot, that is the bridge that we'll see to actually doing things. Even if it's in a factory, forget the home, like, and that there will be a remote, like, imagine just a whole office full of remote people, like, controlling this robot. And so he's saying that some of the plays are, again,
This is insane, by the way.
companies I've never heard of.
I don't know if I fully understand that.
Okay, so here's how I interpret what Nick's saying.
What's the economics of that? I don't
Okay,
understand.
so imagine that you have a factory in the United States. You want to be American made. You have a robot that can be controlled by it's like a Muppet essentially, but you have a guy in India that's like a low cost laborer,
Sweatshop robots.
sweatshop guy who's controlling the Muppet, who can actually like lift the box and put it on.
He's saying that's the bridge before we get to like full autonomy and agency of like a robot in your house in a factory. He's saying that
The robot is still being manned 24/7.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He's saying just like there's a call center.
The humans there, and every robot requires a human minimum.
Well, like in this bridge technology,
yeah,
when
just
it
in this
can't-
bridge world.
yeah, where we can't like actually
I'm just confused.
design a
about the
robot.
Bridge world.
But like, here's the thing: like, we can't design a robot that can like automate the Amazon factory,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But what we can do is have some guy in India plug into this mechanized arms and legs and be like, box grab, box put on.
So
on shelf.
his plays are, so like we can argue whether that's going to happen or not, because I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But I could see an argument for how that's the bridge until things are there. Like it's just easier. Like when the Tesla robot was at that big party they threw, and it had a robot doing bartending, and they're like, okay,
That was a guy.
that was a guy, someone controlling it remotely, because like that doesn't exist now where it can take orders. So he's saying that that's going to happen.
That's the bridge.
And he's saying the plays in that scenario are ultra low latency networks, which makes total sense. You can't have like a 3-second latency.
You can't have any latency.
You can't have any latency. Fallback, long range communications, and precise positioning. So he has a company called like uBlocks.
I mean, none of that shit matter. Like all of
Nokia, Semtech, Cisco systems, even.
no whack.
Low.
I've been like on this. I've been on this narrative for a long time, because the idea of like having no latency, low latency, immediate data transfer is applicable to every industry outside of robotics. And
That's less of a pure play, you're saying.
well, I mean, you can get into antenna technology. Broadcom is
Yeah.
the biggest one. Skyworks Solutions. I'm guessing they're in that report because all these are basically talking about this idea that like ultimately we need data transfer immediately.
Right. Like
Which-
you kind of always need that.
You always need that. Like everyone needs that.
Yeah. So I mean, in general, I kind of like agree with the top level thesis that like we're in a perfect time. I like his picks and shovels. Like you don't like it as much. You like the consumer facing names like the Apple of robotics, which is Tesla
yeah.
for
But-
sure.
But hold on, like just because like I'm in the mode of making money, not preserving money. So if you want to make money in this game, I think essentially what you're betting on is that this becomes a thematic narrative in the investing mindshare, which it may or may not, right?
I mean, I like his thinking. If there's going to be $1 billion, where's most of that money going to be spent? It's actually not in Nvidia chips because apparently those are like a couple $100. But you know, 2/3 of that $1 billion is going to be spent on actuators and mini motors for the joints. So like,
Well, hold on, like
and think about the impact to a company that is just making these things for say automotive. Like the impact is going to be so massive. For
okay,
them.
so hold on, like we're talking about many different things here.
Yeah.
Like on
And
one,
don't forget that AI is running constantly throughout these machines.
yeah,
Right.
AI is still like a narrative,
Inferencing.
like a through line, a narrative.
Sure.
like-
So Google charges them like a fee, a platform fee. They're going to become the Android of robotics,
Sure.
but that's still not going to be. you
Yeah, and
know,
they'll take their little rip on every inference or
Mhm.
something. We're talking about this next evolution of the AI narrative, which is like taking it to sort of like tangibility in our like tactile world. And I'm only saying that like nobody knows the future.
right.
I'm not trying to be a fundamental analyst, which I typically am. What I'm trying to be is like a predictor of like I'm playing poker. I'm not playing the cards. I'm playing the humans. I'm playing the people at the table. I think the people at the table are going to bid up these like consumer facing names more than the RBC robotic actuators or whatever.
Right.
And I don't know those names of like who's the consumer facing
Yeah,
winners,
I know.
but like I'm guessing that we're gonna see like 20x's, 100x's within those consumer facing names, even though the fundamentals don't follow, like they don't justify.
It'll be like a Palantir multiple, or even a
Yeah.
Tesla's current
Sure,
Tesla multiple.
sure.
Yeah.
And like Tesla, I think is a winner in this game, and that's kind of an easy one. But like, there's gonna be the 100x's in like names that we don't even know yet. That I think we should start looking now.
Are you glad that Elon is like getting back on the saddle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He needs to.
Yeah, he needs to.
Like, well, the company needs him to. He doesn't need to, but
Well, like
Yeah,
they're
the company.
they're,
I'm s-
they're
for Tesla. As a Tesla shareholder, I mean. Yeah.
well, the stock's up despite having 40% sales decrease in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
The stock has always performed sort of like idiosyncratically to the business because investors are going to degen. But like I do think that this business has seen a deterioration of consumer demand that
Yeah.
probably should be addressed,
Yeah.
even though it's the best car on earth. Like for the value and for like I think just for the car itself, I think it's the best car on earth. But like that doesn't even matter. Like Tesla to me, I'm basically like Kathy Wood. Like Tesla to me isn't a car company.
Right.
First of all, it's a it's like a vertically integrated manufacturing company. They can manufacture anything in those plants. It doesn't have to be cars. It's all U.S. based.
Yeah. Kathy's right.
Yeah.
the other question I had is like, what percentage of your portfolio do you put in a play like this? Like, it looked like Citrini was saying like 12 to 15%, which is
Wow.
kind of high.
That's so high.
That's so high.
Right. That feels high, right? For this type of.
Well, particularly in the way that I would play it, because the way that I would play it is like I would hope to find names that have an options chain. I would hope to go like long dated leaps on these sort of like speculative high flyers. That's the way that you like squeeze out the most alpha typically.
Yeah.
In that case, you can usually do it with like way less capital. So if I were to go 15% of my portfolio on that and it hits, you guys wouldn't see me again.
Yeah, like I wouldn't touch the there would be signs. I wouldn't touch like the main portfolio, but like my trading portfolio, that's where I'd feel comfortable putting like 15% of that. But you got to be comfortable waiting 2 years too, because this is you need like a triggering event for these stocks to recalibrate and for the market to see what he's seeing, which could be 4 quarters out. Like who
Right.
knows?
And like most, like the names that I would be interested in this space are purely speculative. I'm not that interested in the supply chain suppliers of
You need to be.
actuators. I'm
You
not
need to be.
like, no, I don't care. Like, because they're gonna win, but like they're not gonna win to the degree that like I want to play that.
Are you
I
just
wanna,
scared that like they're not going to have as much volatility and implied volatility because they're a boring company? Is that essentially what you're saying? Like Tesla will have way more volatility and way more price action because it's the consumer-facing name. Since you're only using options.
I'm not only gonna use like most of these are gonna be very small cap names so that
Okay.
I can't even use options.
That's true.
But if I were to like choose the way that I could design it and it was like to my specifications, I would only choose the consumer facing names. I would choose leap calls that go out 3 years
As
or
far as you could.
as close to as 3 years I could possibly get, to the degree that I could get like the end of Trump's administration. This thing is probably going to happen. Like this like robot bubble is probably going to happen, and like I don't think that like the general public is going to bid up joint actuators. They're going to bid up the thing that they see in their lives.
Yeah. What do you think? Let's say you're going to put 100 grand in this category, right? And let's say you had access to all of the private deals going on in robotics, and you could put 10K checks in each. What do you think will do better? Private market like seed or Series A rounds for these other humanoid robots that are private? Because a lot of this shit is private. Like
Yeah.
the only one you really buy is like Tesla. That's like, hey, we have a humanoid robot. What do you think will make more money? These private rounds, or an index of supply chain, like it's like 75 stocks or something?
I mean, I hate private investment, so I would do neither. I mean, what I would do is I would do public investing, but not buying the common stock. I'd buy the options. In that sense, I get massive leverage on my dollar amount, and to the degree that like that would outperform a private investment.
Yeah, there's
of the
just
same
there's just
size.
some companies that are like actually doing things, producing robots. They have customers that you just can't get access to because they're private, and it's like, man, some of these might see 100x, 1000x. They're illiquid. You may not see the cash for like 7 years. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
you're right.
I would love access. Like if that was available to me, and I could divvy up small checks and like a certain dollar amount, I think I would actually prefer that over this index.
I mean, I need to do more research in this space, but like the company du jour of the past was Boston Scientific. They had like the little
Google
robot.
bought them, then sold them.
Okay, yeah, all right. So I don't know. I'm not even in tune with what's going on right now, but I'm guessing if a winner does emerge, then there will still be plenty of room to run with it, even after it does become public.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for letting me join the conversation a little bit. All right, guys. You ready?
Actuators.
Actuators. Very exciting. Steven?
All
See
I'm
that?
going to do is buy a little more Tesla.
See that?
Hmm.
That's controlled by an actuator.
Is it?
That
Yeah, it's one of
ankle-
your actuators.
That ankle.
This ankle has no mobility. It's been torn apart too many times.
You need a new actuator.
Yeah.
I need a new ankle.
Do
How's
you
your
think-
flexibility?
Do you think that robot actuators will replace human joints? Imagine that.
Imagine that.
I'm already a cyborg, so
In what sense?
I have an iPhone attached to me at all times.
No, they're gonna inject code in the form of stem cells into that ankle, and it'll rebuild. The code will rebuild itself.
Yeah.
You don't need to
Bring
put
it
metal.
on.
You just insert the code.
Nano.
The code will reprogram it.
Nanotechnology.
Codes in the computer?
All right, guys. Well, that was fun. Everyone, thanks for joining us. Chat, thanks for joining us. Steven, we missed you. Feel better. You have to get ready for next week because R1 will also be gone next week.
Where are you going, man?
Sometimes you just got to go, man.
Putting your sails up. letting the wind take you.
Sometimes just got to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. It's on at the house all the time. God damn it.
Is that a kid song?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Frozen? You
Yeah.
know
Oh
Frozen?
no.
Yeah.
I'm not there. yet.
I'm too early for kids.
We do Winnie the Pooh right now.
I love Winnie the Pooh.
Like, she's
just
a
for
huge Winnie fan. What else we doing? Oh, Daniel Tiger's legit. Daniel Tiger.
He's a YouTuber.
What about Peppa the Pig?
Why was that funny? I don't understand.
Peppa the Pig. The problem with Peppa is it's not a great message. There's nothing happening.
Oh, don't get political with the kids' cartoons.
No, you have
They were
to.
putting penises in your Disney movies when you were growing up.
No. I'm just saying, like, Peppa, he's like, the dad is like lazy and fat, and they're just like kind of sitting around, farting around. But with Daniel Tiger, it's like, some good life lessons in there.
Was it a cartoon?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like a little tiger family.
Get ready.
It's actually based on Mr. Rogers. It's a
Love Mr.
cartoon derivative of Mr. Rogers as a tiger.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm gonna watch it myself. I love
It's
Mr. Rogers.
actually great.
I watch his documentaries. I mean, I grew up with him, so I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, Daniel Tiger's the way to go. Anyway,
All right, fam.
this was fun.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Join the Discord. Links are at alfalfapod.com. See you later. Bye.
Peace.